Well, time to focus on the Men's Champions League as the teams are on their way out here at the Etihad. Pep's nailed it in the programme. There is so much football to play this season, he says. More football means more live commentaries on Talksport. 450 of them this season across the network. Tonight it's Inter Milan here at the Etihad. The Italians have a score to settle. Man City Inter with your commentary team of Premier League Manager of the Season 2012, Alan Pardew. Alongside your commentator, here's Jim Proudfoot.
Thank you, Jim, and a very good evening to you for a tie that highlights the benefits of this revamped Champions League format. The old system, you might have stumbled across the very occasional group game between two of the continent's big hitters, but now they will be more commonplace with 9 matches between the top seeds. Here's the first, the repeat of City's finest hour some 15 months ago, when victory in this fixture sealed the treble. An appropriate place to start as they pursue their second Champions League crown. Against them, a team who quickly put that Istanbul defeat behind them. Inter blew all domestic opposition away in winning last season's Scudetto by 19 points, form which suggests that they are one of the 36 participants who have a genuine chance of going very deep in this competition as they look to claim the trophy for just the second time in 60 years. But it is City that everyone's looking to stop. For all the Real Madrid are the holders, Bayern are already 9 goals into their campaign, and others have clear credentials. It's Pep's men that are favourites, and victory over pot 1 opposition for them would be an ominous statement of intent. Well, this is how the teams line up tonight. Ederson in goal. It's Akanji, Ruben Dias and Vardiol, Lewis and Rodri, Savinho, Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne and Grealish, and Haaland. Sommer in goal for Inter, Bisek, Acerbi and Bastoni, Damian Barella, Hakan Çalhanoğlu, Zielinski and Carlos Augusto, and Thuram and Taremi up front in a 3-5-2 formation. And City tonight playing in their change kit, and then the change kit of that, and then the change kit of that. It is their 4th kit that they're playing in this evening. Officially greyish blue with straw yellow and chalky pink, but it is designed by Noel Gallagher to resemble a definitely maybe album cover, and City are playing in that tonight, and that means that Inter can play in their traditional blue and black stripes. Kevin De Bruyne just going through the formalities with Nicolo Barella, the Inter captain. They've exchanged pennants. De Bruyne will make his way towards this near touchline and give it to a member of City staff and then take his place in the huddle. Delighted to say, Alan Pardew alongside us tonight. What are you expecting tonight? And if you were the Inter coach Simone Inzaghi, how do you approach it?
Well, you know, it's great to see Inter Milan, you know, the great colours, of course, that we recognise as Inter Milan. They're such a formidable side, actually, at the moment. And last year, they dominated Serie A. So, you know, these don't think they're coming here to lose the game or come here with an idea that it's going to be difficult. They'll be very, very confident they can get something. They're still hurting, of course, from the final of 2 years ago. I expect them to play very well tonight.
They will be hoping for a little bit of revenge this evening ahead of this, their first game in the revamped competition. So Manchester City's road to Munich starts here, and as 2023's European champions eye a 2025 repeat, their initial test is against the side they beat to clinch Istanbul glory. Their first match ever against Inter on home soil, a heavyweight clash between the English and Italian champions. City kicking from left to right in early possession, and the first goal of the night domestically has come at the Amex. Here's Alex Crook.
And it's an absolute blockbuster. Brighton 1, Wolves 0. Carlos Baliba 25 yards out, left foot curler into the bottom corner. Brighton 1, Wolves 0.
So perfect start for Brighton in that 7:45 kickoff there, underway between Coventry and Spurs, and that's live for you right now over on Talksport 2. So if you've got the Talksport app, you can easily swipe between the two games. City get a throw, which they've taken really quickly, and Akanji will play back for Ruben Dias. Forward towards Akanji. Just confirmation that it is the 3-man City back line that they've played all but one of their fixtures with so far this season in the Premier League. Akanji playing on the right of the centre halves, and Lewis playing forward, pushing into midfield alongside Rodri. So Akanji with it, 10 yards inside his own half. Still goalless in the early stages here at the Etihad on Talksport.
Yeah, I mean, City have decided to kind of dictate possession, so they haven't really had a go at Inter Milan yet. They've just kept the ball and are popping it around, and Inter just staying in the shape. That's just the format we gave at the start of this game.
Here's Savinho, Champions League debut for him tonight, coming in off the right flank. Plays it back towards Akanji, and now towards Savinho again. Back behind square from him to Rodri. He's played 130 games for club and country over the last 2 completed seasons. Ball worked out towards Vardiol. Now Ederson will just field that outside his own penalty area, play it forward. Vardiol, the Croatian defender, can bring it forward. Akanji seeing plenty of it in the early stages, but you would expect that to be the case. Played through Lewis, out towards Savinho. The left-footed winger playing on the right-hand side for Manchester City again today. He's had a really good start to life here. And he's made a good run here. Rodri getting it back towards him. Good sliding challenge comes in from Carlos Augusto. And he can negate the threat and bring it away. But in doing so, he's given it away. A ball forward, mopped up by Akanji. It was a good 1-2, though, between Rodri and Savinho. Yeah, it was a great 1-2.
And Augusto's going to have a bit of that tonight. But it was a great recovery from him and a great time tackle. And he's going to have to do a lot of that against Savinho out on this side. He's a real handful. But, you know, City have got a good grip of the game. But you look at Inter Milan and they could do this all night, what they're doing at the minute.
Which is just keeping a tight, regimented shape behind the ball. Forcing City to try and play through them. Never easy. Keeping the passing angles tight. And City having to be at their perceptive best. This is what we saw in the 2023 final, when Inter, over the whole piece, over 90 minutes, would consider themselves unfortunate not to have at least taken the game to extra time. And now they've got a chance to bring it forward for the first time. Thuram just slipping in possession, and City get it back. And now there are fewer behind the ball as Grealish can work it out towards the left-hand side for De Bruyne. Haaland waiting in the middle. Grealish trying to find him. Haaland stretching. Cleared, though. And Inter can get it back outside their own penalty area with Barella. Now Bissak. Çalhanoğlu is in there. City win it back with Rodri, but the first free kick of the night has gone Inter's way for a foul on Barella. 4 gone here on Talksport. It's 0-0.
Yeah, you know, when you set up like this as like a low block, and you're going to ask Man City to, you know, try and break you down, at some point you're going to get a break. And it's on those turnovers, when they break down those quick attacks, that you're open. And Inter Milan, first time they were open, and Haaland had a great chance. Grealish did really well, good little cross, and Haaland was about a foot away from getting that all-important goal.
This game brought to you in partnership with TNT, the home of European football. You with Talksport, Jim Proudfoot and Alan Pardew, talking you through the action, the East End of Manchester tonight. Gorgeous day in this part of the world. 0-0 the score with 5 gone. Bernardo Silva taking the ball on his right foot, then flicking it with his left past Carlos Augusto, back out towards Savinho. Savinho feigned to cross, laid it back instead towards Akanji. Rodri will go deeper. Ruben Dias, the conduit for this latest passing move, just knocks it forward again towards Akanji. Into the feet of Rodri and straight back. Now Akanji looking for Lewis. First time ball from him for Bernardo Silva. Haaland makes a darting run down the inside right channel. Lewis went into a more central area, but Inter can bring it away. And now they'll look to break quickly. And they've got it forward towards Mehdi Taremi. And the Iranian is waiting for the cavalry to arrive to his right-hand side, but Thuram has made his way forward. He's got it now on the edge of the penalty area, and a low, crisp, right-footed shot is relatively comfortably saved by Ederson at the foot of his near post.
That was typical Italian play. You know, they defended well, and then really great technique, little 3-4 passes, little touch, and then they was on them. And Man City had to be careful there, but the shot in the end, unfortunately for them, was tame and easy for Ederson.
Thuram's been in decent goal-scoring form this season. He's got a couple of braces in Serie A already. 4 goals in his 4 games all told. And he's playing the 300th game of his career today. And much more prolific, but obviously from a very different position than his legendary father Marcus was. Ball out of play for Lilian I beg your pardon. The ball out of play for a throw which will be taken over on the Manchester City left. And swiftly they've got it back through the midfield again for Akanji. Now towards Rico Lewis. Lewis down towards Savinho. Level with the edge of the inter-penalty area. Shuffling back onto that favoured left foot again. Lewis for Akanji for Rodri. So about 10-15 yards outside the inter-penalty area. Blonde haired De Bruyne with it, just tries to flick the ball in. It ricocheted high up in the air. Barella did well to bring it away, and they're trying to spring another counter-attack here, and already we've seen the MO for Inter tonight. It's a good little over there from Bisek making his way forward, but Thuram didn't get himself back on side. And that's a waste as far as Inter are concerned.
I mean, Barella has done 2 or 3 things already, just like on another level. He's such a terrific player for Inter Milan, and just there he set up another attack. It just drifted offside the striker, and Man City have the ball back. At the moment, it's everything that you'd want. It's the 2 champions of England against champions of Italy, and they look like championship sides.
City 2 defeats in 51. Inter 4 defeats in 53.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily the fact that something's got to give tonight. Savinho makes his way forward. He's got the better of Augusto, flicking it in with his left foot. Jan Sommer can come out and make the save. But the point being, both have had extreme success by being pretty nigh on impossible to beat on a regular basis.
Absolutely. But down this side, Savinho's going to be the outlet. He's the one who's just got that turn of pace. Grealish on the other side is going to sort of, with De Bruyne, kind of work the situation, maybe pass their way through it. But Savinho's job out here is to take the full-back on. He did brilliant there, and I was unlucky not to get something out of it.
Barella plays it back for the young German centre-half Bisek, giving the nod ahead of much more experienced Benjamin Pavard tonight. Don't know whether it is a team that is picked not just with tonight in mind, but also the forthcoming Milan derby the weekend by Simone Inzaghi, making as many changes as he has.
Yeah, both clubs got massive games the weekend. It will have some kind of impact on tonight with subs. I expect to see a lot of subs used, so to protect players. So it'll be interesting.
Jan Sommer's got it. Ball at his feet. The experienced and very highly rated Swiss international goalkeeper. Played forward, Thuram with a little chest trap. Fires it out towards the right-hand side. Akanji with plenty of pace. He's going to be able to get back and get there ahead of Matteo Darmian and put it out of play. Darmian, who played nearly 100 games across town from here with United, where he was a European winner in the Europa League under Mourinho back in 2017. Some 8 seasons ago now. Darmian back in Manchester this evening, playing at right wing back. He played at right centre half when the 2 sides met in the Champions League final, but playing in the wider position on the right hand side of the back line tonight. But by and large, it is a back 5 for Inter, because Manchester City have had nearly all of the early possession.
Absolutely. It's interesting there, there's a throw-in deep in Man City's half, and Inter Milan was a good press from them. So, they're going to press high if they can, and once they got the team up the pitch. So a nice spell here for Inter Milan.
Short of the 10-minute mark here on Talksport. 0-0 here, 0-0 live on Talksport 2 between Coventry and Spurs. High throw inside the penalty area. Bernardo Silva heads that away. And then Çalhanoğlu can turn it back out towards Barella, who's shown up so well in the early stages, as Alan's been saying. Çalhanoğlu with the ball in. Taremi making a near post darting run. It's a good defensive header, and that's the catalyst for a City counter-attack, with De Bruyne bringing it forward. Only had Haaland up with him, although...
Yeah, he got crowded out there, and unfortunately it come on nothing. But Inter are showing real signs here that they're not overawed by coming to this stadium. Terrific so far.
Only one league side has beaten them since that Champions League final in Istanbul. That was Sassuolo, who beat them home and away last season. They've also lost a Coppa Italia tie with a weakened side against Bologna. One Champions League defeat proved very costly against Atletico Madrid, but that's been it. City, on the other hand, haven't lost on this ground since November 2022, the game before the World Cup.
Wow.
So we've had 2 major tournaments since Manchester City lost at home. It was Brentford that won here, you might remember. A brilliantly orchestrated smash and grab, but sensational execution of their game plan that day, with Ivan Toney front and centre in a 2-1 win. They've got it at the back, Inter, with Zielinski, who's making his full debut for the club tonight after his move from Napoli. Back from him to the blue glove Jan Sommer, just controlling the ball, working it to Barella. And Barella inside his penalty area. They're just inviting the press here. It's De Bruyne that is leading that press and giving chase. Çalhanoğlu will be able to play it out. Now Zielinski working it down the line. Bastoni's got it. Bastoni into the feet around the edge of the penalty area of Carlos Augusto, but the offside flag is up and it's a free kick that will be taken by Manchester City. 12 gone on Talksport. It's 0-0.
Yeah, Thuram, there's about 2 or 3 occasions he keeps drifting offside, which has spoiled decent attacks from Italy, from Inter Milan. But one thing I would say about them, there's an assurance about Inter Milan in possession that you don't always get from Premier League teams. There's kind of a swagger about them, even when they're playing in their own box. So, you know, Man City know they're up against the top team here.
You're listening to Manchester City against Inter Milan in the Champions League. It's live on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day.
And let me, I was talking about the word swagger, Jim. Did you see how they entered the stadium, Inter Milan? Did you see their safari suits?
I did.
They're pretty tasty, eh?
Got one on order already.
Canali's safari suits. That's the way to enter the Etihad.
Yeah, they're a classy club.
Yeah.
They have a certain way of doing things, which I would imagine just breeds that little bit of self-confidence, helps the players. Bisek over on the right-hand touchline. Now Çalhanoğlu gets it back out towards the centre half, who's on halfway. Ball back inside, it's given away. De Bruyne poking it on here towards Haaland, and Zielinski did well. He came back with him and just flicked a right toe out to be able to get the ball back to his goalkeeper and get it away out of Haaland's stride.
Yeah, he's just having a little bit of joy, De Bruyne, on the break. Just as Inter Milan get possession and pop it around, when they turn it over, when they lose possession, Man City, De Bruyne's finding a little bit of space just out on that left side by Grealish, and that couple of chances from him, but nothing come of that one because it just got away from the big fella, Haaland.
Haaland starting the night, as you know, on 99 goals for Manchester City. This is 104th appearance for the club. 13 goals in 10 Champions League ties on this ground, which is half decent. Here's Jan Sommer coming out of his penalty area, controlling the ball on the edge of the D. Inter fans in good voice away to our right-hand side. They've got about 1,200 over here. As Carlos Augusto makes a run forward into mixing it up with a longer ball over the top of the City back line. This time it was too long. And he goes through for Ederson. Still 0-0. Akanji down towards Savinho. Only goal of the night, Brighton leading Wolves 1-0. All of the Champions League games, Celtic and Bruges and PSG, all 0-0 at the moment. Earlier, Sparta Prague beating Salzburg 3-0. Shakhtar missed an early penalty, and they drew 0-0 in their game at Bologna in the Champions League.
Never good to miss a penalty, when it's 0-0. It always kind of comes back to haunt you, that does. Southampton did it at the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. That Cam Archer miss, and 9 minutes later they were 2-0 down, and might have been 1-0 up. I've got more like Champions League action for you tomorrow. Arsenal are beginning their campaign in Bergamo away to Atalanta, and Joe Shannon and Darren Bent will be talking you through the action from that one. Build up at 7 ahead of an 8 o'clock kickoff tomorrow night on Talksport. And then don't forget the boxing Saturday from Wembley, Joshua Dubois. And this a heavyweight clash as well, with Grealish in possession. Worked out to the Manchester City left. A little give and go. He's got it back from De Bruyne. Try to thread it through for Bernardo Silva's run. Bisek on the corner of his penalty area plays it for. What a touch from Barella that was. Kane to meet it. Back heel flick. Took 3 City players out of the picture. Bisek getting it for Mehdi Taremi towards the edge of the area. In towards Thuram. He's onside this time. City have got 5 goal side. And Thuram drags an innocuous shot well wide of Ederson's near post.
Well, Barella is, he's almost Messi-like in this first sort of 20 minutes. You just can't get near him. Everything he touches turning to gold. It's been absolutely terrific. On the other hand, Thuram for Inter Milan, not so good. Poor shot there on the finish of that marvellous play.
He's not got a good Champions League record. I said that he was in good form this season. He's only got one Champions League goal over the last 4 years in 14 ties, which was a winner against Benfica last season. But struggling at the moment. He'll be hoping that the next 20 minutes are better than the first 20. Here's Akanji getting it back to his goalkeeper Ederson. He lets the ball roll over the penalty spot onto his left foot, and now looks to ping one forward, but it's overhit for Bernardo Silva. But
that's one of their great tactics, Man City, because I mean, Pep's having a little, getting a little bit angry with his goalie, but to be able to do that, they get teams to come onto them, and then the goalie can hit it right on the back of you, and you get a goal for nothing. And they almost tried to do it there.
It's got this real low, flat delivery as well. It only goes about 10 feet off the ground, 10, 12 feet off. But ordinarily very accurate. Here's Bernardo Silva bringing it forward. News of another Brighton goal in a moment. But Savinho on the front foot here for Manchester City. Play back towards Rico Lewis. Lewis to his left for Rodri, trying to get away from Taremi. He's robbed him. Now Taremi getting it square to his right hand side for Thuram. Taremi continues his run forward. Akanji backs off. 4 around the edge of the penalty area, and eventually comes out to Çalhanoğlu, who slices wide. Another promising inter-counter-attack coming to nothing. Let's hear about that second goal at Brighton for Alex Crook.
And a second for the host. Brighton 2, Wolves 0. Once again, a great strike from outside the penalty area. Simon Adingra this time cut in from the left, and he fired low and hard, right-footed, into the bottom corner. Brighton 2, Wolves 0.
Deadlock broken at Celtic Park. David Tanner.
17 minutes gone. It's Celtic 1, Slovan Bratislava 0. Arne Engel's corner from the left was met by a powerful header by Liam Scales, who scores in the Champions League for the first time. Celtic 1, Slovan Bratislava 0.
Second goal of the season. Celtic, 6 wins in a row, scored 17, conceded just the 1 coming into tonight, and leading by a goal to 0. Well, we talked earlier and indeed last night as well about what you might need to be able to qualify out of this group, and 16 points we reckon will be enough for a top 8 finish as Grealish brings the ball forward, gets it back to the corner of the penalty area for De Bruyne. Guardiola with a little layoff. Rodri, Akanji, now down towards the bottom right corner of the box. Savinho curving it in, Haaland with a header. But Sommer got his hands above his head very quickly. Didn't quite have the power or the direction that Haaland wanted. And it was a routine save.
Yeah, but that was their best passing sequence, Man City. Popping it around, good play, good little bit of movement. Grealish was at the heart of it. And in the end, a great cross, and Haaland, unfortunately, just couldn't get enough power on it. Defender did quite well, actually, to put him off.
Bissek has just been fouled. It's a free kick to Inter. So ESPN have done all of these simulations working out what it might take, and they reckon 16 points for a top 8 finish, which will be avoiding the playoff round and going straight through. But you might potentially need 9 to avoid finishing in the bottom 12, which would mean instant elimination. So clear for Celtic, the home games, particularly against the opposition from the lower pots, absolutely crucial. That's a must-win for them tonight, even at this stage, to get up towards 9, but a good start for Celtic. It's going to be very interesting to see how it all pans out. Here's the impressive Barella again. Couple of options to his left-hand side, including Bastoni, but he's gone further forward to Carlos Augusto. Now Bastoni forward to join the attack from centre-half. Back to Çalhanoğlu, right-footed effort from him, and that deflects away from the wrong-footed Ederson, but spins wide for a corner.
Yeah, he got himself in a good position there. They worked it well. Barella again, obviously. We're going to keep mentioning him tonight by the looks of it. And he sets him up nicely, but his shot just deflected. And a corner situation for Inter Milan, who have done exceedingly well so far.
And this is their first corner, indeed the first corner of the night. And it comes with 20 minutes gone here on Talksport.
Going back to Celtic, that win will be massive for them. And the draw, after their recent results in the Champions League, it's massive for them that they get that win there.
Leading by a goal to 0, courtesy of Liam Scales. This one is still 0-0. Found that Celtic goal the only goal of the night in the 8 o'clock kickoffs in the Champions League. In comes the corner, and a flick header at the near post from Acerbi, well wide. Out of play for a goal kick that Manchester City and Ederson will take, and we're 20 minutes in.
Yeah, because I think I was probably trying to work that to the near post for the big centre half of Acerbi, just to get a little nick on it to take it across the 6-yard box, but it didn't quite come off. and it went behind for a goal kick. But Inter Milan still, fairly high. They're not really dropping too deep on Man City possession. They're holding a good line, so they're getting a decent share of possession at the moment.
Those are the thoughts of former Premier League manager of the season, Alan Pardew, part of the commentary team here on Talksport tonight. And you're part of the evening's entertainment as well. And your views on everything that you've heard on the Sports Bar later on. Jason Cundy and Jamie O'Hara in situ. First place to have your say on national radio after a busy night of football across Europe. And we'll hear your calls on our way home. 03717 223344 will get you through. We're just about at the midway stage of the first half. 0-0, entertaining, a game that has got plenty of potential without really catching light as yet. But Inter have settled well. Zielinski can bring the ball forward. Guardiola winning it easily, and Inzaghi was absolutely bemused by that. It was Acerbi who was at fault. Savinho's got it now, twisting on the edge of the penalty area, pulling it back. Bernardo Silva with a little back heel flick. Ruben Dias brings it forward. Now it goes out towards De Bruyne. Silva again, little 1-2 on the edge of the penalty area. Savinho trying to play him back in, and it's clear by the Inter back line, but that was better from Manchester City.
Yeah, when a defender can just read the situation and break the attack and break through the lines, which Man City did there, it opened it all up for them, and they just couldn't finish it off. It's an intricate little play down that left side again.
There's Dias to Akanji, and Inter getting hemmed in their own final third at the moment, which won't bother them unduly, and such is their potential strength on the counter-attack. Akanji back down to the City right-hand side for Savinho. Rico Lewis looking around him as he received the ball to see who was where, and saw that Thuram was bearing down on him, and cleverly flicks it off to his left-hand side almost instantaneously. Ruben Dias is going to be able to bring it forward now. Out he goes towards Kevin De Bruyne. Vardiol. Dias again. Kanji always showing for the ball. Inzaghi tried to orchestrate a little bit of fine-tuning and just motioning with his right hand, trying to get the left-back Carlos Augusto to come further out, I think, towards Savinho, not give him quite so much time when he receives possession. The Brazilians had it again, worked via Rodri to Akanji, out to Jack Grealish on the left-hand side of the box. First time ball in towards Haaland, and Savinho completely misses his kick, and that's gone almost out of play for a throw, not quite. But it was an excellent move from City. Haaland very nearly in there, and it broke on the edge of the penalty area, but he snatched at the shot and shanked it horribly.
Yeah, but when you're a team like Man City and you're dominating possession and teams are deep, you've got to have a little bit of magic or a little bit of craft to unlock it, and that ball from De Bruyne was typical of him. It was absolutely brilliant with the outside of his foot, and it just come all the way across to Savinho. Unfortunately, his finish didn't match the quality of the cross.
Bastoni's long ball forward, returned by Akanji with a powerful header, deflected out, goes for a throw which will be taken on the Manchester City right.
Inzaghi there was almost playing left midfield.
Yeah, you think all those great days watching Channel 4's Italian football back in the day with the wonderful Peter Brackley and Inzaghi and his brother, and always players that wore their heart on their sleeve, and he still does. Simone. There's Savinho towards the edge of the box, a left-footed effort that's deflected high up in the air off Augusto and will be headed away by Bastoni. Comes out towards Kevin De Bruyne, played forward by him, and then Silva from an offside position has played it back towards Grealish, and it's a free kick which will be taken by Inter away to our right-hand side. 0-0.
Yeah, I mean, Grealish and De Bruyne down that left-hand side. There's a nice balance to Man City's attack. You've got their little intraplay and little passes into the front, into Silva, into Haaland, and down this side, Savinho keep driving down that right, looking to come in on that left foot. That's kind of the balance of their attack tonight. But Inter Milan are doing very, very well at the moment. They've not really had a great chance. Maybe one for Haaland off the header, but that's been it.
You listen to Manchester City against Inter Milan in the Champions League. It's live on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, we've got a van. 0-0 with 26 minutes played. Possession 60-40 in City's favour, as near as makes no difference, but it's actually Inter that are slightly shading the shot count, 5-4 in these early stages, as Akanji plays a long crossfield ball out to the Manchester City left. Vardiol back for Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne near the edge of the centre circle towards Akanji. Akanji will make his way forward, works into the feet of Bernardo Silva. De Bruyne makes the run, the ball deliberately played behind him. Grealish then into his path, and De Bruyne from a very tight angle just rifles it into the side netting.
Yeah, Inter Milan are going to have to deal with that side, because they're getting a little bit too much joy. If I was Inzaghi, I wouldn't be happy with that. Grealish, Silva and De Bruyne are down that side. Gardabao is not really joined in. He doesn't need to. That overload is causing Inter Milan some problems, and that's the only chances they've created really have been down from that side.
The ball played forward towards Barella, but he stood no chance of being able to get there again. Easily cut out. Savinho, slightly misdirected ball, but ricochets Lewis's way. He's then gone down off the ball as play continues with Bernardo Silva in possession on the Manchester City right. Now down towards Akanji. City, as always, just stringing the passes together with almost impudent ease, but Inter have had answers for nearly everything that's been thrown at them so far, and Sommer hasn't had a difficult save to make, just the one Haaland chance. Bernardo Silva goes back towards halfway. Diaz hastily but effectively scoops it back to Ederson in his fluorescent orange. He plays it out to Vardiol. And now Kevin De Bruyne over on the far touchline. Haaland, who hasn't had too many touches, but then does he ever? Doesn't matter, it's not the way that he plays. All you got to look at is 9 goals in 5 games. The ball now goes out to the City left. Grealish offside. And it's a free kick which will be taken by Inter over on the right flank. Inzaghi the happier of the two managers at the moment?
Well, I have to say there's some great interplay between the two managers. You know, they look great. They dress well, and they're full of the game, which is great to see. I mean, they've covered more mileage than Rodri so far. But you know, it's a great game. I mean, you would sort of put it down to sort of a game of chess at the moment. There's not really too much going on, but tactically it's brilliant to watch.
Right, Inter unbeaten in the league this season. 2 wins and 2 draws, though. They've drawn the 2 away games that they've played, including one at Monza at the weekend where it was 0-0 with about 6 minutes to go, and it ended up being 1-1. Ball fired in here from the right-hand side of the penalty area. Ederson went scampering, got himself caught AWOL with a poor clearance. Shot then came in, and Ederson really hastily trying to get back quickly, might not have made it, but Vardiol made sure by heading the shot away and out for a corner.
Yeah, he was lucky there, because he's trying to save a corner kick, and in doing so he's put it straight to an Inter Milan feet, and the shot come in, but it was easily defended in the end. Mightily relieved, our goalkeeper, I should think.
Hakan Çalhanoğlu comes out to take the corner for Inter. Previous one was on the right, this one's on the left, second of the game. Right-footed in, swinging delivery. Ederson almost got stuck in traffic, punches clear, Barella back into the fray. City defending mob-handedly, had enough of a forest of legs to be able to block that. And it comes back to the centre circle where Zielinski will lay to his left-hand side for Çalhanoğlu. And Zielinski working it forward again. And now Carlos Augusto tries to get in. And it's Haaland who's the last man back defending. But the referee says that Carlos Augusto is fouled. And it's a free kick to be taken by Inter in a promising position. We'll hear the free kick in a moment. First of all, though, another goal at Brighton. Alex Crook.
And the visitors back in it. Brighton 2, Wolves 1. Gonzalo Guedes with the clever side foot finish from 7 yards out. Brighton 2, Wolves 1.
It's a 2-1 there. Brighton back. Well, Brighton's lead pegged back to just the 1. Coventry against Spurs still 0-0, and that continues live right now over on Talksport 2 with Ian Danta and Dean Ashton. Have you got the app? It's easy to keep abreast of all of the salient points of both games. This might be one for Inter, with Çalhanoğlu standing over this free kick, level the left-hand edge of the box and 11 yards outside the box. Right-footed in, swinging delivery from him. Good save from Ederson, but it wouldn't have counted because the flag is up. It was Thuram that came to meet it, but for the third time tonight he's flagged offside.
Yeah, there was a high line from Man City. You're always liable to get done on a foot race like that. but unfortunately drifted offside again. Was my favourite player tonight, Thuram. I think that's his 4th offside already.
Semi-automated offsides in the Champions League, and the replay showed that the decision absolutely correct. The officials from Sweden tonight, Andres Söderqvist, who's running the line over on that far touchline with his flag. He's been busy. Deltoids will be itching. The ball is out of play for a throw that Inter will take on that far side there, right, but in a much, much deeper position. Back he goes from Bisek to Çalhanoğlu. And he goes back to his goalkeeper. Sommer taking a couple of touches, played out from the back. Now to Acerbi, a man who's a veteran of nearly 400 Serie A appearances. He's given it away. Carlos Augusto coming in strongly, putting the challenge in. Savinho back for Rodri. Lewis can take over. Now Ruben Dias has it inside the Inter half of the centre circle, and he scoops the ball. A real exaggerated chip out towards Grealish. Grealish controls it with his chest, rolls the ball down the left-hand touchline for Kevin De Bruyne. Back from him to Vardiol. Now outside the penalty area, a chance to deliver. It's a chance that's been passed up because the ball goes back behind square again. Kanji though to Bernardo Silva. Work one stop further down the line for Savinho. Always wanted to cut inside onto his left foot. Thuram with a really good sliding challenge, arguably his best contribution of the night. And now they'll try and bring it away with Zielinski. Taremi's made a run into an offside position. Ruben Dias came forward, made the challenge, and gets a yellow card. He didn't even think it was a foul.
Yeah, on first viewing, I didn't think it was a foul either, but the referee definitely did. The yellow card was like, he didn't even hesitate. But as you're right, Thuram was brilliant as a defender. He's not so good as a striker, but a brilliant tackle. Got the attack going. Yeah, I guess it was a bit of a lunge. I'm not sure he did get the ball in seeing it again. Diaz not happy, but yellow card.
So Ruben Dias caution for the second time this season, the first player to have his name taken tonight. It's half-time at the Amex in the League Cup. Alex Crook.
And it's Brighton 2, Wolves 1. Brighton were in cruise control, courtesy of 2 long-range strikes from Carlos Baliba and Simon Adingra, but Wolves back in it on the stroke of half-time. Gonzalo Guedes, who's been their best player, finished well from 6 yards. It's Brighton 2, Wolves 1.
And also in the Carabao Cup with 11 to go to half-time, Coventry 0, Spurs 0. Live for you right now over on Talksport 2. Çalhanoğlu from the free kick, just tried to spear a ball forward down the inside right channel, but it was easily dealt with by the City back line because it was overhit. Thuram hadn't made the run that he'd anticipated. Interesting to see at what stage Lautaro Martinez is brought on by Inter. It hasn't really worked, those two in tandem so far tonight. Martinez a more than capable man to be waiting in the wings.
Yeah, there's nothing more irritating when you're away from home and your striker is like 3-4 times offside in the first half. So I'll be chastising him or changing him if it was me. But Inzaghi knows him better than me. Maybe he can motivate him to get better in the second half. But first half, poor Thuram.
Grealish to Lewis to Savinho, back for Ruben Dias, and then Rodri playing it forward for Vardiol. Inzaghi's brother had a reputation for going a little bit early once or twice, the old joke being that he was born offside, Pippo Inzaghi. Well, so I just imagine that it'd be like watching Thuram, it would be like playing in the back garden back in the day, 45, 50 years ago. Here's Lewis going out towards Savinho getting towards the bar, and great ball across the edge of the 6-yard box. Lewis couldn't get there to tap it in. Thuram back defending again. It falls Grealish's way, ricochets with a looping ball down towards the right. Savinho's got time to whip the crowd up as he controls it. Rodri with a little flick that didn't come Lewis's way. Grealish for Haaland, just wide. And Sommer knew he was beaten. Not a huge amount of power in the shot, but almost deadly accuracy for Haaland on the turn. Left-footed shot, little daisy cutter, went past the defender, and Sommer turned, watched, prayed, and those prayers were answered. It's about a foot wide.
I'm just amazed that hasn't just nestled in the bottom corner there. That was Haaland all day. He hasn't had anything at his feet hardly at all. He gets a chance there and he kind of goes against the grain by cutting it back, and it just missed the post.
That's Zielinski getting the ball forward for Inter. Looking for Thuram. City mop it up. Rodri gets it forward. Haaland drops that little bit deeper, links up the play, feeds Bernardo Silva. Savinho ever willing to push forward to his right-hand side. And now he's got it on the right-hand side of the box, darting inside the penalty area away from Taremi, setting up Ruben Dias. Savinho went down and stayed down. Play goes on. De Bruyne getting it in, and Haaland waiting, and it's just flicked off his toes by Bastoni. And it's a free kick to Inter, just outside their 6-yard box. Haaland in stretching for that, judged to have fouled the centre-half.
Well, those who were with us early would know Ian Andrew was talking about centre-halves having their body in the right place and making sure that you know where Haaland is. And he did that brilliantly, Bastoni. He could see the danger, and he was touch tight with Haaland. He gets there first. Haaland hits him and gives the foul away. Brilliant defending, which you would expect from an Italian.
Yeah, he's been around the block a bit for a player who isn't that old, Bastoni. He's still only 25, but he's got more than 200 Inter games behind him. That was high-quality defending. He's all right. He's back on his feet. Play resumes with a free kick to Inter. They're struggling to get it out of their own half again at the moment. Bisek has lost out. Here's Haaland on a mission, making his way forward. Inter can easily knock it away, and then Augusto will help it forward down the left. Akanji there first ahead of Taremi, and plays it back for his goalkeeper, Edison.
Yeah, I mean, Man City just getting a little bit more kind of heat in their play. They're looking just a little bit more kind of possibilities coming their way, particularly down this side with Savinho. He's definitely got the beating of the fullback. It's just whether he wants to go down the outside enough. He keeps wanting to come back on that left foot. The 2 times he's done very, very well is when he's gone down the outside and delivered with his right foot. And they've looked 2 dangerous opportunities for City.
7 minutes to go to half-time here on Talksport. It's 0-0 between Manchester City and Inter Milan. That was Alan Pardew giving you his thoughts as De Bruyne plays it in. That's deflected, but not potently. Loops up in the air. Sommer had to adjust his run out of the 6-yard box, was able to claim it, and he'll ball it outside the penalty area. The player's got a little bit of history against Manchester City in the Champions League. He was on the beaten side in the quarterfinals of City's run to glory back in 2023. He's got it again here, Sommer, who was at Bayern Munich at the time, and he's just chipped it towards Bastoni, who's then got it back past Bernardo Silva. Found himself in the middle of an impromptu game of piggy in the middle for a moment. 38 gone, it's 0-0. But you talked about it being the proverbial game of chess. It's so high in terms of intrigue, this. Haaland getting it forward. Here's De Bruyne, and that's been blocked. Goes up off of Cherby, and it will be kept in on the right-hand side of the penalty area. Inter can get it away towards Thuram, trying to use his strength, but all he's done is chest it out of play for a throw that'll be taken on the City left.
Yeah, good play, from City. They're pushing now. What have we got? 5-6 minutes before half-time. It'd be great if they could find a breakthrough.
Grealish to De Bruyne, now Gvardiol. Sorry, Alan, has got it again. Right-footed ball clipped in by Rodri. Chested down by Savinho on the corner of the penalty area. 5.5 to go to half-time. Dias. There's Gvardiol once more. 20 yards outside the Inter penalty area. Slows things right down. Dias now can bring it forward with a little bit more intent. Akanji off in the centre half that will play the incisive ball forward. Lewis trying to take it on the turn inside the penalty area. It's a neat pirouette. Touch just ran away from him. He was able to keep it going, but went back outside the penalty area. And as Thuram comes forward, he invites contact from Akanji. No complaints from Akanji when the free kick's given against him. Yeah, and Inter will take in their left-back position.
He done well there, Thuram. Criticising him in the first half, but in his defensive work, he's done really well. And maybe that's why he's in the side. He's coming in, filling holes up. As a striker, you do need to do that when you come up against the quality of this opposition. But Inter Milan's midfield tonight have been absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Barella in particular, Calhanoglu, the Hakan, that is, and... who's the other one? Zelensky. Sorry about Zelensky. I forgot his name for a momentary second.
Yeah, they've done well. Zelensky making a darting run forward here. Carlos Augusto will just play it to him now. He's on the left-hand touchline. That's a ball inside the penalty area. Well dealt with by Diaz. And Rodri will help it further clear. De Bruyne waiting for the ball to get to him. It never did. Mopped up by Barella. First time ball back in from Zielinski. And Thuram fires wide of the near post.
Wow, that should be 1-0. I mean, he's pulled that back beautifully for Thuram. Unfortunately, he's got a good contact, but he's pushed it wide from a really good chance. That's 2 or 3 times, Rodri. You know, you're talking about, you know, whether he's had enough game time. 2 or 3 times he's given it away in real dangerous areas for Man City.
Well, it is his first start since the final of the Euros. And by his own extraordinary standards, maybe just a little bit rusty.
Yeah, absolutely.
Grealish has been fouled there by Bissac. Free kick to City into territory. With 3.5 minutes to go to half-time, it's not going to be too much added on. Lewis down to Savinho. And Savinho. Little give and go around the edge of the penalty area. But that's been effectively mopped up by Çalhanoğlu. And he can now play it down right in front of his manager Inzaghi in his dark suit. Watching as Zielinski, with his presence in the midfield, just always there to give the ball and not take any risks, but link up the play so effectively, the former Napoli man, and he's guided it back for Jan Sommer. Now Chervi plays to the left-hand side of the penalty area, and Bastoni can bring it forward. Savinho leading the press this time. He goes back for Sommer.
In the last third here, when Inter Milan are playing out, the technical ability is very, very high. There's not many Premier League clubs.
Haaland, Grealish, De Bruyne is in, and goalkeeper and defender between them can get it away. Çalhanoğlu back, sprawling in front of his goalkeeper. They've smuggled it clear for City's first corner.
Yeah, just following on, because that was half a chance for Man City, but there's not many teams in the Premier League can be as comfortable in that central area under that kind of pressure as this Inter Milan side. So, you know, you're seeing why they've had so much success in Serie A. But there's a little issue here. I think it might be De Bruyne, somebody needing attention.
Yep, it is Kevin De Bruyne. And City have sent Ilkay Gundogan out to warm up. Phil Foden out there as well. And De Bruyne is on his feet. The medical staff have gone on to assess him, but they will do so with him stood up outside the penalty area. He was down on his haunches for a good 15-20 seconds or so.
Well, he's carrying a very heavy quiff, you know, for that Barnet. So, you know, it's
that's enough to do a hernia in itself.
He doesn't look happy. You know, usually that kind of activity is there's a message got back that he's not right. So I'll be surprised if he carries on here. Yes. And as you say, the two possibles are not bad, are they? Foden and Gudjon.
Yeah, 2 half-decent players to be able to bring off the bench. I've just seen the replay. It was as De Bruyne took the ball inside the penalty area and tried to get that shot in, which was blocked, and he just pulled up as if he'd just aggravated a groin problem or something. This is City's first corner of the night. Swung in towards the edge of the 6-yard box and really well headed away by Taremi. Cleared by Inter out to Lewis, who's near the centre circle, and he'll go deeper still, back for Bernardo Silva. De Bruyne has been off the field almost the mandatory 30 seconds, having been spoken to by the medical staff, and he's now invited back on. Fourth official has the numbers board in his hand, and maybe just 1 minute to be added on, 2 at a push, as Vardiol is in possession. 0-0, as indeed it is pretty much everywhere tonight. Celtic leading Slovan Bratislava 1-0, Brighton 2, Wolves 1, everything else is 0-0. Ball played down the Manchester City left. Haaland has it, twists away, back to the direction of play for a moment. 1 extra minute prescribed. Grealish down towards De Bruyne. Now De Bruyne looking for Bernardo Silva. He couldn't fashion the ball that he wanted. Zielinski can bring it away. It's a great pass from him because he's been able to find Barella in space. He seldom misuses the ball. He's found Taremi. Carlos Augusto making a run to his left. The angle's tight, but Ederson still forced into a save with his left foot to kick it away for a corner.
Well, that just summed up the first half, really. Man City looked like they're controlling, looked like they're going to, you know, try and find a route, and then Inter Milan, some intricate midfield play to kind of get them on a counter, and then half a chance the other end. Good save by Ederson. You know, he needed to make sure he saved that on the near post. Great little move from Inter Milan.
Just the one clean sheet for Ederson in his 5 games so far this season. Although he's only let in a goal in the other 4 games. Çalhanoğlu with the corner, back out to Barella on the edge of the penalty area, and that would have been one of the great goals of the Champions League season. It ended up going about 10 rows back behind Ederson's goal, and that the last action of an entertaining first half. Hasn't been a glut of goal scoring opportunities, but intrigue has been high. Manchester City certainly not having things their own way, and we've got the half-time goalless.
Jim, thanks very much. I'm really impressed with Inter Milan as they come off the field there. They've been more than a match for Manchester City, and you mentioned this towards the end of the half, Alan. I think that if Manchester City are going to win this game tonight, they're going to have to work really hard to win it, because Inter Milan have got a lot of quality and they're showing it tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just goes to show the technical level they have, because the corner that they tried to complete at the end was a ping right to the far corner of the box for a shot from Barella, who's been the outstanding player. And it just goes to show you the faith you'd have in someone's technical ability to even try that. So, you know, he's shown real class. And Inter Milan, as we said, you know, when they arrived in the stadium, they got a certain kind of assurance about them that not all Premier League teams can carry. Arsenal carry it, Liverpool can carry it on occasions, and certainly Man City. But Inter Milan tonight look like they know what they're doing.
Yeah, they really do. They look confident every time they've got the ball. They're not fazed by the fact it's Manchester City. And you talked about Barella there. I actually wrote down his touch is a delight, apart from that volley into Rosette at the very last kick of the half. But you're right, the audacity to even think about that.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, that is like about as high a tariff as you can get, to smash it to the far side of the corner for him to volley it in. Unfortunately, got it all wrong, but he didn't get much else wrong in that half. He did some great stuff. He did a little back heel there that was just like top draw.
Took, 2-3 players out with that. It was sensational. On the move, a back heel, and it looked physically impossible. If I tried that, I'd be like a drunk octopus on the floor. It would be a shocker. But the reason why we're talking about how good they are is because it's making life difficult for City. They're defending very well, Inter Milan, because they've got enough bodies back there to defend. But when they get on the ball, they move it very quick. They go first time, they've got zip, and it means they get up the pitch, which makes it harder for City to get back up and attack.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if I look at Inter Milan's side, well, outside of Thuram, he's had an off game really in his first half here. The rest of the side have been absolutely sound. They've not really put a foot wrong. You know, their defending's been class. They've been tenacity. They've been quick, technically great in the central areas, and quick to counter. You know, when you play Man City, it's all really good setting up your team to counter, but you know, you've got to have the energy and the pace to be able to get beyond Man City's midfield. And they've been able to do that tonight. They've had 3 or 4 great occasions. I mean, if I was Inzaghi, I'd like to think I'd have gone in 1-0 up here.
Absolutely. I mean, Thuram, who Jim mentioned in commentary, 4 goals so far this season. He's been bang in form, but totally out of form tonight when it comes to the finishing touch. But then you could say so is Erling Haaland. He had a header which was easy for the keeper to save, possibly should have done better with that, and then one that he kind of scuffed a little bit, went wide, probably should have nestled in the corner of the net, leaving the keeper stranded. So you could say both sides, the key strikers, the goal scorers, have not quite had the finishing touch.
No, and you know, like, I've played with so many games with Doug, like Papa Cissa and Demba Ba at Newcastle. They would be like, you'd be thinking, oh my God, should we sub him? Like, what's he going to do? And then they smash one in the top corner, and then you realise, well, you pay him all the money that you pay him. So these guys, we expect to see the same outfits on the second half, but I do expect a lot of changes tonight, purely because of those 2 fixtures at the weekend. AC Milan for Inter Milan and Arsenal coming here. So I expect to see a lot of substitutes, and I think this game could twist on that. We'll see.
Yeah, indeed. The Sunday session will have you covered from the big game here at the Etihad. Man City against Arsenal. We'll have more on Martin Odegaard being out for probably a bit longer than Arsenal fans will be hoping. And then that Milan derby, and that is going to be crucial on Sunday night. No doubt about it, and you'll hear all the fallout from that, and the end of that actually during Danny Kelly's show after 9 o'clock Trans-Euro Express. But it's Champions League tonight. It's Man City 0, Inter Milan 0, half-time at Celtic Park, where it's good news for the home side, David Tanner.
And it's Celtic 1, Slovan Bratislava 0 at the break. Celtic are playing well and dominating the ball against the Slovakian champions, who are making their group stage debut. Liam Scales scored the goal from an Arne Engels corner from the left. Scales took advantage of zonal marking and ran onto the ball and powered a header that the goalkeeper got a hand to but couldn't keep out. Celtic survived a VAR scare when a Vladimir Weiss shot deflected off the hands of the goal scorer. Last season it would have been a penalty. This year, thankfully not. Weiss, by the way, should have equalised in that effort but hesitated. Brendan Rodgers will be happy as Celtic are very much in control, but they should have scored more. It's Celtic 1, Slovan Bratislava 0.
It was a terrific header from the Irishman Liam Scales. Celtic 1, Slovan Bratislava 0. Elsewhere, Club Brugge 0, Dortmund 0, City 0-0 with Inter Milan here, and PSG 0, Girona 0. Earlier it finished Bologna 0, Shakhtar Donetsk 0, and Sparta Prague 3, Salzburg 0. Carabao Cup third round, they're getting the second half underway at the Amex. Brighton 2, Wolves 1, and it's half-time live on Talksport 2, Coventry 0, Spurs 0 in an 8 o'clock kick-off. From what I've seen, looks like Coventry have gone closest, but still 0-0. And Women's Champions League second round, these are full-time scores: Paris FC 0, Man City 5, and Häcken 1, Arsenal 0. This game's brought to you in partnership with TNT, the home of European football.
Kick off on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Supercharge your odds with our Odds Boost button. Selected markets applies to first £50 of stake. Terms apply. 18+. Gambleaware.org.
Free Disney dining and drinks is back at Walt Disney World Resort in Florida, where magic finds its way into every moment. Book selected 2025 packages and get free dining and drinks, a 14-day ticket for the price of 7, and enjoy extra savings when you book at your local TUI store or at tui.co.uk. Offer ends 7th of November. Selected 2025 arrivals and Disney resorts. Conditions and exclusions apply.
Growers Harvest porridge oats. Price matched at only 90p for 1 kilogram at Tesco. Makes for some tasty overnight oats, which make themselves overnight. Fancy that. That's true value. Tesco. Every little helps. Serving suggestion: price match 29th of the 8th pro rata versus GBLD. Check twice weekly. Excludes promos. Selected stores. Excludes Express and Northern Ireland. Details tesco.com/Aldi price match.
Kick off on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Supercharge your odds with our Odds Boost button. Selected markets applies to first £50 of stake. Terms apply. 18+. Gambleaware.org.
Looking for a place that combines rich culture, modern luxury, and experiences you won't forget? This is Qatar, where tradition and modern innovation come together seamlessly. Kick things off in Doha with the Museum of Islamic Art. It's a masterpiece, blending centuries of history with bold design. Then you've got the National Museum of Qatar, where its desert rose structure brings the region's story to life in a whole new way. Into art, Qatar's got it. From public and street art installations across the city to the vibrant Qatara Cultural Village, where contemporary art merges with traditional Arabic architecture. Creativity is bursting out everywhere you look. And when hunger strikes, head on over to Souk Waqif for authentic Qatari flavours, surrounded by the buzz of the city's most vibrant, bustling market. Qatar's authentic arts and culture scene leaves you feeling inspired, recharged, and more connected to the world. Discover it all at visitqatar.com.
Lighten the load for the rest of the year with EE's ultra-fast broadband, free for 3 months.
I'm sorry, did you say free? Free, like nothing at all? What, for 3 whole months?
You bet. And you'll get speeds of 150 meg.
And it's powered by BT.
Switch before the 26th of September to pay absolutely nothing for 3 months.
£33.99 for a month for 24 months. Price increases on 31st of March each year by £3 a month. 43.7% UK availability. New customers.
By recommending beautiful designer radiators at bestheating.com, you'll have happy, warm customers. You also get cold hard cash. Yep, you heard. All you have to do is refer your customers to bestheating.com and we'll give you a percentage of the sale in actual cold hard cash. Plus, your customer gets 10% off too, so everyone is a winner. Visit bestheating.com/trade to refer your customers and start making money today.
Live on DAZN, September 21st, Joshua versus Dubois for the IBF World Heavyweight title. An explosive night at Wembley awaits. Buy now at DAZN.com.
The team sheets are out and the fans appear to be playing the free Coral Reward Shaker. We've got the Glory Hunters hunting for rewards. Oh, they've won 50 free Coral coins. And here comes the full kit Fanatics. They're shaking too, and they've got themselves a free bet. Play our free Coral Reward Shaker to win guaranteed daily rewards and offers this football season. Coral, we're here for it.
18 plus, UK only. Max 1 reward per player per day. Restrictions and T's and C's apply. Take time to think.
Champions League live on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day.
It's the reason Marconi invented radio and God gave you ears.
And he scored, it's a brilliant goal!
The Champions League live on Talksport.
I have to say, in all my time at Talksport, the coverage of boxing has never been better than it is right now. And we've got commentary of Anthony Joshua taking on Daniel Dubois at Wembley Stadium this weekend. It's a massive fight, big heavyweight clash in so many ways. And of course, it's live on Talksport on Saturday evening. Let's get the halftime odds with Ladbrokes.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Get money back as a free bet up to £10 if one leg of your Football 5 Plus acca lets you down. Pre-match straight line accas only. Odds are 3-1 or greater. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
So it's still Man City 0, Inter Milan 0. City are still 4-3 on to win. Inter 11-2. The draw is 11-2 as well. Over on Talksport 2, it's also 0-0 between Coventry and Spurs in the Carabao Cup third round. Coventry are 19-5 to win in 90 minutes. Spurs are 11-10 on. The draw in normal time is 21-10. Don't forget, if it is a draw in normal time, go straight to pens. That's the latest odds with Ladbrokes, 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Supercharge your odds with our Odds Boost button. Selected markets applies to first £50 of stake. Terms apply. 18 plus. GambleAware.org.
And that's second half of Coventry 0, Spurs 0 coming up on Talksport 2. Second half of Man City 0, Inter Milan 0 coming up here on Talksport. And a few people have messaged me asking about the Women's Champions League second round. Second legs to come. Arsenal aren't out. They're 1-0 down after the first leg. They've got a job to do in the second leg. Man City 5-0 up coming into the home leg against Paris FC. I think you can safely say they'll be through. In the Premier League, in fact, Arsenal kick off their Champions League campaign tomorrow night against Atalanta. That's live on Talksport as well, away in Bergamo. But they'll be without their captain, Martin Odegaard. He missed the North London derby at the weekend with an ankle injury. He'll also miss the match here at the Etihad against Man City in the Premier League this Sunday. Mikel Arteta admitted the Norwegian midfielder will be out for some time, but wasn't drawn on the specifics.
Yeah, after a recent scan, the scan showed there's got some damage, especially in one of the ligaments in the ankle. So we're going to miss him, yeah.
Can you give us a rough guideline?
I don't want to do that because I'm not a doctor, but yet it's something quite significant, so we're going to lose him for a while.
Months, not weeks.
Hopefully not months, but let's see.
Well, Alan Pardew's managed to raise the laugh at the end there, but that sounded like a nervous Mikel Arteta, didn't it?
Yeah, something quite serious is not a good statement. Ligaments are notoriously difficult to heal, so particularly in your ankle. So that's a tough call for Arsenal.
Yeah, and it's one where you can't bring them back early.
No, absolutely not. And usually when a player goes down like he did, you know it's a serious injury. You could tell he was so upset. I've played enough to know when I got hurt, sometimes it's okay, but when you're really hurt,
Yeah. They allowed Fabio Vieira to go out on loan. I believe there's no recall on him. Emil Smith-Rowe was sold to Fulham as well. Players need game time, but the two players who could have filled that position, so you wonder about that strategy, really.
Well, I think, as managers, you're always under pressure, particularly if you've got a great young player and you're not giving him game time. Whether you get 2 starts in 2 years, I just heard him say on the wire there, and that's not enough for you. You can't look a player in the eye and say that's fair. He needed to go. It's been a great signing for Fulham already. I think he'll do terrific there. But I think it was right that he come out of Arsenal. As I say, there's only so many times you can let a young player down. maybe in the transfer window they could have perhaps looked to strengthen that loss a little bit more. But I don't see a problem in the two players they let go.
No, it's going to be difficult for Arsenal. And listen, you don't want a player injured, so best wishes to Martin Odegaard in his recovery as well. The Carabao Cup tie on Talksport 2, Coventry 0, Spurs 0, second half about to get underway. The other one was a 7:45 kickoff. Let's catch up with how the second half's going at the Amex. Talksport's Alex Crook.
And we played 56 minutes. It's still Brighton 2, Wolves 1, as it was at half-time. Brighton racing into a 2-0 lead. Carlos Baleba with the first goal, dispossessing João Gomez around about 25 yards out and curling a blistering left-foot shot into the bottom corner. Simon Adingra then fired home from the edge of the penalty area. Maybe Jose Sarr back in goal for Wolves tonight should have done better with that one, having got a hand to it. But Wolves did reduce the arrears right on half-time. Good finish that from Gonzalo Guedes from the edge of the 6-yard box after Matt Doherty had pulled the cross back, and it could well have been 2-2 early in this second half. It was Rodrigo Gomez leading the charge into the penalty area. He got his shot away. In the end, it was relatively comfortably saved by Jason Steele. Brighton 2, Wolves 1.
Guedes it was who got both goals in the last round as Wolves beat Burnley. Out of favour, out of the usual 11, but when he's in there he seems to get goals. And Carlos Baleba, what a player Brighton have got on their hands there. 2-1 up. We'll keep you updated with that on Talksport, as with the rest of the Champions League action tonight as well, with second halves about to get underway. Inter Milan in their blue and black stripes and make their way out. And Man City in this new Noel Gallagher designed Oasis kit, which isn't Manchester City really, but they come out for the second half. It is goalless and it's live on Talksport with experienced Premier League manager Alan Pardew alongside your commentator on Talksport, Jim Proudfoots.
And a double change being made by Manchester City at half-time. We talked about Gundogan and Phil Foden being sent out to warm up 4 or 5 minutes before the break, and they are on, and they've replaced Savinho and De Bruyne, Alan.
Yeah, I mean, De Bruyne, I could see that, because obviously he had a little niggle before the end there of the first half. But I'm surprised he took Savinho off, because, you know, he was being a real threat down that side, and it's shaping up. And maybe Silva's going to go out there, so they're going to have two players who can't really go on the outside. So I think, you know, maybe there's a tactical switch here from Pep. We'll have to see how it unfolds.
Well, Phil Foden came on as a half-time substitute at Chelsea. It's his only appearance so far this season. He's been struggling with illness, but back after that virus for 45 minutes here. And Gundogan, who made his first City start since the Champions League final win on Saturday, gets the second half as well. We are back underway with Manchester City in this Oasis-inspired kit of greyish blue with straw yellow and chalky pink hues. You might not like it, but tonight you got to roll with it. Into blue and black. Thank you. Yeah. Into blue and black striped shirts and black shorts. You don't have to humour me, honestly. And they're kicking from left to right. Now, the 1,200 Inter supporters away to our right-hand side have been in fine voice in front of a big banner that says Curva Nord, proudly emblazoned across it in big white lettering away to our right-hand side. Just a little bit of shadowboxing at the beginning of this second half for Manchester City and Inter Milan. They're still locked together at 0-0. Alan predicted possession before the game as being 36% for Inter, and it's in fact 37, which is a
bit disappointed in myself, really.
Pretty good prediction, it has to be said. 10-9 the attempts in Inter's favour, though. Here's Gundogan out towards the right-hand side for Manchester City to bring it forward with Akanji. Now towards Bernardo Silva, clip forward from him. Lewis doing everything he could to bustle his way through, but Bastoni very cleverly just blocked off his run, and he goes out of play for a goal kick.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they've changed tactics slightly here, and they've gone for an overload on the other side, where De Bruyne, Grealish and Silva were on this left side. They've now let Grealish maybe come out here, and now on that right-hand side you have Foden, Silva and Lewis. So it'll be interesting how that unfolds.
Mediterranean battling, but losing out towards Akanji. Lewis almost dropping into a conventional right-back position just for a moment. He's done really well, brings the ball away and then makes his run back into central midfield with Ilkay Gundogan in possession. Foden showing for him. He's only about 3-4 feet away. He wanted the ball in defeat. Gundogan instead elects to work it out towards the right-hand side. Lewis can take over. Foden's got it now and blasts one over the junction of post and bar. Well worth an attempt from 25 yards.
Yeah, and Pep giving him a major, big clap on the old above his head there to sort of say that's what we want. It was squared up to him and he took a shot early and it wasn't far away, and we know Phil Foden particularly good at that, coming in on his left foot or coming in on his right foot. It doesn't really matter, both are as good as each other. He gets the shots off, and that might be what we're going to see a little bit more of second half.
Well, this game brought to you in partnership with TNT, the home of European football. Still 0-0. Bruges against Dortmund 0-0. PSG Girona is 0-0. But there's been another goal early in the second half at Celtic. David Tanner.
2 minutes gone in the second half. It's Celtic 2, Slovan Bratislava 0. Nicholas Kuhn flew down the right-hand side, threw in a cross from the byline, and there was Kyogo Furuhashi with his thigh to make it 2-0 to Celtic.
Second goal of the season for Furuhashi, and the second goal of the night for Celtic, leading Slovan by 2-0, and those are the only goals in the Champions League so far tonight in the 8 o'clock kickoffs. Results from earlier, if you didn't catch them: Bologna 0, Shakhtar 0, and Sparta Prague beat Salzburg 3-0. This one is 0-0, and here is Alan Pardew.
Yeah, and I was with Brendan actually out in Mallorca. He took his staff for a little get-together and a little bit of, in the international break there. And it's done them well, because that's their first win, isn't it, in the Champions League for a long, long while, hopefully. 2-0 up there, sitting pretty, so good for them.
Yeah, long time since they've got a Champions League campaign off to a winning start. Don't want to count any chickens, but 2-0 with 48 gone, with slightly ahead of them here, and 0-0 the score. Into playing out from the back, and it was risky. Çalhanoğlu, though, did well, fielded it, and then Barella, furious with himself, as soon as he chested the ball down and tried to just hook one over the top for Darmian's run, but he got the angle wrong, and it drifted out of play for a throw, and he was furious with himself.
Yeah, he was furious with himself.
It's about the first misplaced pass we've seen from him tonight. Yeah. He really has been outstanding. Manchester City have it right in front of us. Jack Grealish picking up possession. We're situated about 12 yards inside the half that City are attacking in this second half. Grealish working it through the centre circle to Akanji. Rolled forward from Akanji to Lewis and straight back again. And the ball literally slows to a standstill before Akanji then just pokes it forward. Rodri being pulled back, and then forced the referee's hand a little by deliberately stopping, making no attempt to try and pick up the loose ball. Foul by Çalhanoğlu, and the bearded Turkish international has given a free kick away that City will take about 20 yards outside the penalty area. They've worked it quickly and short in towards Lewis, and back again towards Ruben Dias. And the man with the captain's armband, now that De Bruyne has gone off, plays it to his right-hand side for Akanji. Akanji working it into the feet of Phil Foden, who takes it on, and then he's been caught trying to dart past Bastoni, and it's another free kick to City.
Yeah, Foden's done well. Had a couple of interactions already. He's had a shot and did a little mazy run, and got a free kick in a great position here. And what you always have to understand about great teams is that they have to be very, very good at set plays as well if you're going to win the title. And this Man City team are massive. Not only are they brilliant at football and moving the ball and everything else, they're actually so big at set plays. You have to defend very, very well. And so far, Inter Milan have done that well.
More City substitutes sent out to warm up. Kovacic leading them. Free kick taken short. Ball in towards the near post is knocked away by Carlos Augusto. And goes out for a throw to City level the edge of the Inter penalty area, which Bernardo Silva, I think, will leave for Lewis.
Yeah, it was a well-worked set play, actually. Gideon got down the side and they got him in, but his cross wasn't good enough.
Much of the second half possession with City, and nearly all of the possession they've had has been in Inter territory, but they always leave themselves prone potentially to a counter-attack. Here come Inter now, out towards the right-hand side. Darmian, edge of the penalty area. Little check back towards Barella when he might have had a shot himself. Grealish comes back and is fouled inside his own box. And it's a free kick to City, and that is a let-off. Darmian, a defender, not the man they really wanted to be on the end of that move. and he didn't take the responsibility.
You know, I said before the start I wanted to see Dumfries play for Inter Milan. Now, if Dumfries was there, he would have smashed that in the top corner. You know, and Damian's not that type of player. He had to take the shot. It was the best chance of the game. Inzaghi's going furious at him for not shooting. He tries some sort of back heel. I don't know what he was thinking. But he had to take the shot. And then, of course, when he back-heeled it, it's gone, the chance. And Man City had escaped. That was a typical Inter Milan break in this game, but the best one they've created, and they should have scored.
Furious doesn't begin to describe it. He ran 10 yards down the touchline, arched his back, almost stamped his feet, looking at Darmian, who turned and in a very chastened manner apologised.
Absolutely, I just can't believe the attitude of these managers running up and down the line and getting involved in the game. What's wrong with them?
You wouldn't mind a game of poker against Simone Inzaghi, would you? You reckon you'd probably be able to tell whether he got a good hand or not, because he certainly wears his heart on his sleeve, and absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. Emerson will...
I mean, it's a real style off, isn't it? Pep and Inzaghi. I mean, you know, Spanish against Italian apparel.
One that they were both reckon they're winning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Edison with a long clearance. Foden chasing after it. Sommer in towards Bastoni. Oh, the press has worked. Foden with a left-footed shot blocked. Grealish with a miscue. Almost broke Haaland's way. Foden slides, keeps it in. Well, at least stops it going out of play for a goal kick. But it will go out of play for a throw. They're so determined to play out from the back. It is the house style for Inter Milan. In fact, they conceded a couple of goals doing exactly that in the UEFA Youth League game over the road from here this afternoon in their 4-2 win. Both of the City goals came because Inter were playing out from the back, and they very nearly conceded one the same way there.
Yeah, but, you know, that's their philosophy. You know, as a manager, you don't mind that. You know, you're going to get caught once or twice if you're going to commit to it all the time. Unfortunately there, Bastoni gets it in a poor position for the big centre-half that he is. He's not a midfield player, and he creates a problem for the team. But actually, when they've played out, they've done terrific.
Inter have it now breaking forward. Thuram, right footed shot from Zielinski, sliced across it, and that will go out of play for a throw. Just down by the corner flag, everybody waiting. It was almost a buzz of expectation. Is it going to be a goal kick or a throw? And the ultimate ignominy. And Inzaghi furious again, and he, in a frustrated manner, draws his left hand through his slightly greying brow. It might be slightly greyer than it was at the start of the night, though.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with it. You don't have to tell me. I'm a bit younger than you. And the ball with Lewis goes out towards the right. Now Manchester City are going to be able to bring it forward. Only a bit, though. 10 minutes gone in the second half. It's 0-0 between Manchester City and Inter Milan here on Talksport. You're listening to the Champions League live. Our coverage with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day. Now it's Pep's turn just to look a little bit disconsolate, throw his arms down, and he's done it again because possession has been given away, and he knows the danger of a cheap turnover around the halfway line. Carlos Augusto bringing it forward, and Rodri does what he does so well, and just got back between man and ball and turns and brings it away. And now he's got it again. A little 1-2 with Foden. Now he works it forward for Lewis, who can come into Milan territory. 0-0 the score here on Talksport. Back for Foden once more. Foden to Gundogan and straight back again. Foden now to Rodri, to Gvardiol. Grealish in space on the City left, and that's the pass that has been played, and he rolls his studs over the top of the ball, lays it back for Ilkay Gundogan again. Gundogan in a central position to Rodri. He's 30 yards out, clips it right-footed out towards the right-hand touchline for Bernardo Silva. He will be able to bring it forward and then check back inside. Akanji's got it on the corner of the penalty area. Back it goes from him for Ruben Dias. Nearly every City player has had a touch within this move, except for Haaland. Off in the way of it, he usually has the most important one of all. Here's Grealish, turning, getting himself into a shooting position, trying to ride a chance from Çalhanoğlu. No foul, counter-attack on. Barella bringing it forward, really well stopped by Gvardiol. Knew the danger of letting him get too far, and even if he had to take a yellow card for it, and He's learnt a bit from Rodri. Gvardiol gets a yellow card, but it was a good one to take for the team.
Absolutely. Did he get a yellow card? I didn't see him actually flash it, but he definitely made the foul there he needed to. Again, there was good play by Man City, and I thought it was a foul on Grealish. He was a bit unlucky there. Another break by Inter Milan, but they didn't make nothing of it because of the professional foul, which they're pretty good at, Italians. They mastered the professional foul over the years.
And there's been another goal at Celtic for Talksport's David Tanner.
56 minutes gone, it's Celtic 3, Slovan Bratislava 0. A penalty kick scored by Arne Engels, who scored a penalty against Hart at the weekend. Celtic 3, Slovan Bratislava 0.
Now that looks like the job done as far as Brendan Rodgers and Celtic are concerned with their 7th win in a row. Alan, you're absolutely right. He didn't get a yellow card, Gvardiol, for that challenge. Diaz will head the ball forward through the midfield here. It just goes past Gundogan, who turns and it gives him a quizzical look, a little bit too much on it. Inter have got possession back inside their own half. Çalhanoğlu out to the left flank. Taremi waiting for the ball on halfway, wants it into feet. Carlos Augusto will work it back behind square instead for Çalhanoğlu. Now he'll change the direction of play, and Darmian's in space on the Inter right-hand side. His first touch took him back inside, when it looked as though he might be able to get him round the back of Gvardiol. City very quickly have got all 11 back behind the ball again, but Barella's got it for Inter, and he just exchanges passes with Zielinski in the centre circle, and then turns it back to his right for Çalhanoğlu, and it's Inter's turn to have some pretty patient build-up from the back. Turn forward here towards Taremi. And the centre-half Bisek has made his way forward. And Gvardiol happy for him to have possession. Now it's rolled down the side for Darmian. Darmian inside the penalty area, straight towards the penalty spot. And Rodri just gobbles it up and knocks it away. Phil Foden's got it now. Back for Rodri. Put under immediate pressure. 3 Inter players around him, and you'd never have known it. Got between the first 2, dropped his shoulder and beat the 3rd. City work it from the left to the right. Lewis can bring it forward. It's still 0-0. Now we played just under an hour here at the Etihad.
Let me tell you, there's some high tariff technical play going on out there. Absolutely brilliant bit of sequence of play there, and Rodri, brilliant for Man City.
Yeah, backing his prodigious ability under pressure. Diaz played forward towards Gvardiol. Back for Ruben Diaz again. Diaz into the feet of Foden. Foden trying to drive forward. Çalhanoğlu's there to stop that. 1-2 between him and Barella, and then Thuram is caught. And it's a free kick to Inter about 10 yards outside their own penalty area. Let me remind you what's happening elsewhere. Brighton leading Wolves 2-1. And we'll be back at the Amex in a couple of minutes. It's still 0-0 between Coventry and Spurs in the Carabao Cup 3rd round, which is live right now over on Talksport 2. Celtic 3 up against Slovan Bratislava, and the other 3 games in the Champions League, including this one at the Etihad, are all 0-0 as Bastoni plays it back for Sommer. And Sommer will just clip the ball right-footed down towards the right flank. Played forward by Barella. Thuram drops deep to meet it, and there's no City player around him so he can turn, but then Gundogan came back and won possession back. Looked as though he was fouled. Referee says no. And play goes on with Inter working it down into City territory towards Thuram. Barella coming onto it. Look for the run of Taremi, and it's knocked away and put out. And the boos you can hear are for referee Glenn Niebert for not giving that free kick City's way.
Yeah, one of those sort of decisions that the home crowd are always going to boo. But I didn't think there was a lot in it. I think actually he was right to perhaps play on. I mean, Inter Milan are really threatening on the break in this second half. And I can see Pep is getting so frustrated, and I think it's because they're not moving the ball quick enough. That would be my criticism of this particular performance.
Darmian arches the back, launches the throw inside the penalty area. Foden volleys it away. And there's been another goal on the east end of Glasgow tonight for David Tanner.
And it's now Celtic 3, Slovan Bratislava 1. It was a miss-hit by Celtic defender Greg Taylor. He sliced the ball up in the air. It landed at the feet of Kevin Wimmer, and the fullback hammered one into the top corner that Schmeichel had no chance with. Celtic so dominant that they've just conceded. Celtic 3, Slovan 1 after an hour.
That's the first of the 6 Champions League ties tonight in which both sides have scored. Foden Goes out towards Bernardo Silva. Neither side scored here. Foden has it again. Not too far from the corner of the penalty area. 17 minutes gone in the second half. Arsenal begin their Champions League campaign tomorrow. Atalanta away. And they're going from Bergamo's live on Talksport with a 7 o'clock build-up ahead of an 8 o'clock kickoff tomorrow night here on Talksport. Well, I'll remind you what's coming up at the weekend very shortly as well. Suffice to say, Joshua against Dubois from Wembley is coming your way on Talksport. The big boxing Saturday night right here on your home of boxing. Jan Sommer in possession. The edge of the 6-yard box for Inter. Driving the ball forward. Certainly no harm done really for Manchester City if they were not to win this game. You'd think 5 wins and would be enough. If they get a draw here. Ball goes from Lewis out to the right-hand side of the penalty area. Lewis has got it back. A deflected cross. Grealish reacted, almost got there ahead of Barella. But Bastoni's going to be able to clear. And Barella seemingly has been in the right place at the right time all night. Now get this. Coventry 1, Tottenham 0. Brandon Thomas Asante has given Coventry the lead there 18 minutes into the second half. It's live for you right now over on Talksport 2, but Spurs trailing at Coventry by a goal to 0. Inter are going to be bringing Lautaro Martinez on very shortly. This one's 0-0, Alan Pardew.
Yeah, the perfect timing for him, by the way, with everybody getting a little bit slower in possession, and you know, the capitalisation of the break. He's your man.
Hasn't scored this season as yet, Martinez, but got 27 goals last season. Did get the winner at Anfield in a Champions League tie a couple of seasons ago. Ball goes out to the Manchester City right, and Silva goes straight back for Akanji again. In fact, it's going to be a double change with Henrik Mkhitaryan getting ready to come on as well for what will be his 100th Inter appearance. So the first change, Thuram off, and Martinez on to replace him. That's no real surprise that that's the way they're going up.
No, I mean, to be fair to Thuram, he didn't do anything really in the final third, but he did some great work in terms of defensive work, as you have to do sometimes as a striker, and I think that really was his sole job tonight. And now they bring on the fresh legs, the sharpness of Martinez, and you know, I've seen him enough to know this player is so dangerous. If they get one of those attacks and they use the possession well, he'll be on the end of it.
129 goals he scored for Inter Milan at a rate that isn't an awful lot worse than one every other game. And the other change, Mkhitaryan, a veteran of 2 Manchester derbies in his time with United, has come on to replace Zielinski. So Mkhitaryan on, 35 now, only 1 goal in his last 62 appearances, but it did come in a Champions League semi-final.
I bet he would love to score today. Can you imagine?
Oh, not much. Well, that goal that he scored was in a Milan derby. Okay. So a veteran of a Manchester derby would certainly love to get an overdue goal. He's at 46 without one. So a double change made by Inter. Now we're 20 minutes into the second half. City made a double change at half-time. Foden and Gundogan came on. They've still got Nunes, Doku, McAtee, Kovacic, Stones and Walker as outfield options on the bench. City only named 10 subs, Inter only named 9. They could have had 11. Gundogan going back to his goalkeeper, Vardiol. Edison changing the direction of play quickly, and Lewis diving header has stopped a slightly misguided pass from going out of play. And Manchester City do have a clean possession over on the far touchline there, right-hand side, as we approach the midway stage of this second half, which is still goalless. Foden down the City left-hand side here for Grealish. Haaland drifting forward. Gundogan is there as well. So too Vardiol. Foden on the edge of the D. Tried to thread a ball through towards Lewis. It was cleared. And City got plenty of time to run around it inside their own half and come again.
Yeah, I mean, I think this game's made for Doku. I'd love to see him come on this pitch, because I think down this left-hand side with Grealish, I think that change there, Doku for Grealish, would give Man City just something else to go down the outside. At the minute, they're running out of ideas a little bit.
So here's Ilkay Gundogan. Down towards Grealish, and he's eased out of it by Darmian. It was about this stage of the final between these two, the only previous meeting of these two, incidentally, where Manchester City's Rodri scored the most famous goals in their history. City needing a little bit of inspiration again. Grealish has been fouled again. Took the free kick quickly, the first one, and then Mkhitaryan just snapped at his ankles and brought him down.
He's probably the most deceiving player, Grealish, like that. He looks like he's going to give the ball away, and then he just seems to get that great big calf of his or something in the way, and to draw a free kick. I think I see a stat about him last year that he got more free kicks than anybody else or something. But he's clever like that, and he sucked him in here, and they got a free kick in a great position.
About 5 yards in from the left-hand touchline, 15 outside the box. Gundogan and Foden standing over it, but Gundogan's favourite. They also potentially have the option to knock it down towards Grealish. Actually, it's Foden that takes it. It's an away swinger. Haaland close to it, headed away by Carlos Augusto. First touch back inside the area from Silva, didn't find a teammate. Darmian clears. Out of the far touchline for Lewis. Safety first from him will go all the way back to his goalkeeper, and nothing's come of it.
No, it's a decent ball from Foden. Haaland was up there challenging, but defended it well into Milan, which they've done all night, obviously. Still, that's why we're 0-0.
And you're listening to Manchester City Inter Milan in the Champions League. It's live on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, we've got a van. Grealish. Gundogan. Taking it to the edge of the penalty area, but no further. Grealish with Bissek backing off. Now play back in. Cushion into the path of Grealish. It's Foden! And it's saved. Great move from City, but no end product.
Yeah, their best move of the night. Some real kind of intricate little passing in that last penalty area, and it just come to Foden. And you fancied him. I mean, it was a great little ball. I think it was from Gundogan. Just pulled it back on his right foot, Foden. He should be scoring there.
Inter offside. City allowed to play on. Grealish driving forward, and just as he pulled the trigger, it was cleared. Comes out towards Lewis. City getting closer. High ball inside the area. Grealish sizing up the volley. Gundogan sizes up the volley at the far post, and it's deflected and loops over the bar. It has, in fact, gone out of play for a goal kick, but that last 2 or 3 minutes much better.
Yeah, their best spell, Man City, of the game, and they just got a little bit of joy. Whether the two changes have just knocked them out of sync a little bit into Milan, but Man City just starting to create a little bit more, and then particularly down this side with Grealish. He's done terrific this last little period, just as I was about to sub him.
Benjamin Pavard is going to be coming on, probably because of how well Grealish has done in the last 2 or 3 minutes. Pavard, who has played as a full-back and a wing-back, but these days plays on the right of the three, and he is getting ready to come on. So he could replace Darmian, he could replace Bissek, or they'll have to just shuffle things around a little bit. City bring the ball forward. The slightly missed-time challenge over on the far side. Free kick to Inter. Now let's use this opportunity to go quickly back to the Amex. You're into the last 10 minutes there, Alex Crook.
And it's still Brighton 2, Wolves 1, but it really should be all square. Nelson Semedo causing havoc inside the Brighton penalty area with his low cross. It was turned towards his own goal by Adam Webster, and somehow Jack Hinshelwood got back to clear off the line. Brighton 2, Wolves 1.
20 to go at Coventry. They lead Spurs 1-0. Brandon Thomas Asante. It's live right now on Talksport 2. And another goal at Celtic. We'll get news of that in a moment, because Inter quickly get the ball forward towards Taremi. Back towards Bissek. Right-hand side of the penalty area. His cross in. Akanji heads it away. Who scored the 5th goal of the night? David Tanner.
71 minutes gone. It's Celtic 4, Slovan Bratislava 1. Made in Japan, this one. It was Kyogo to Hatate to Daisen Maeda, who crashed the ball in bottom corner. Celtic 4, Slovan Bratislava 1.
Maeda, top scorer at Celtic now this season with 4. Dumfries is going to come on as well as Pavard in a moment. City have it inside the Inter penalty area. Rodri, it's Grealish getting it onto his left foot and winning a corner with a left-footed shot that just deflected off the sliding Darmian and loops out of play. Another goal at the Amex. Alex Crook.
Should be game over. Brighton 3, Wolves 1. Jose Sarr can only parry Danny Welbeck's initial shot, and there was Ferdi Kadioglu to bundle in from close range for his first goal in English football. Brighton 3, Wolves 1.
So Brighton heading through. Coventry are at the moment as well. In comes the corner from Manchester City's Ilkay Gundogan, and it's headed away. Foden goes up for it. Çalhanoğlu beats him on the edge of the penalty area. Back it comes in from Lewis. Barella's got that. Now played out towards Mkhitaryan. Pep throws his hands up in dismay again. But Mkhitaryan can't take the ball into Manchester City territory. And they've got everybody back behind it again as it goes back to the defensive line. Just have those moments where it looks as though they might be able to spring the counter-attack, but they haven't really come to fruition, particularly in this second half, Alan Pardew.
No, and Man City have done a lot better, and I think Foden's improved them considerably, actually. He's just taken up sort of central areas, and then when they've got it into him, he's kind of done quick passing and got through into Milan's defence for and they've not done it often tonight, but Foden has done terrific since he's been on.
Barella help forward. Ruben Dias wins it back. Good anticipation, and then Barella has completely upended Grealish. Turned just too good for the Italian international, and Grealish ended up about 6 feet in the air and came down pretty swiftly. Gravity did its thing. Barella apologises. Didn't intend to do that, but it is a free kick to Manchester City in a really good position. No yellow card. The boos and whistles are for that. Here's the double change then. First player off, Bisek, and Pavard will come on to replace him, so that's a straight swap. And it's going to be Dumfries for Darmian, so that's a straight swap as well. So they've rejigged the right-hand side of the back line here, Alan, with 15 minutes to go.
Yeah, and as I said, it was obvious there was going to be a lot of subs tonight because of the fixtures at the weekend. And now I actually think this is probably Inter Milan's more offensive, stronger team at the end here. So maybe an opportunity for Man City, but you can't legislate against Inter Milan on the break now, because they certainly got more pace on there and more kind of offensive thinking in the team. So an interesting period we're going to have now. What have we got? 15-20 minutes left.
Pavard, another player that lost that Champions League quarter-final for Bayern against City a couple of years ago. City en route to glory. Once scored a cracking goal against Argentina in the World Cup. Dumfries came off the bench and scored one the other day to salvage a point in Serie A. So they're the latest two that have come on. Foden taking this free kick. Missed time jump from Akanji. Got his head to it, but was on his way down by the time the ball got to him, and he couldn't get the direction right. It's gone out of play for a goal kick that'll be taken by Jan Sommer away to our left. A reminder, Brighton 3, Wolves 1, Coventry 1, Spurs 0. 15 minutes to go live over on Talksport 2. And Spurs fans, as well as Manchester City fans and Celtic fans, want your reaction on the sports bar tonight. 03717 22 344. Pep again showing his discontent. Here's Denzel Dumfries. First chance for the Dutchman to get it inside the penalty area. Oh, and he's put over the bar. What a glorious opportunity. Henrik Mkhitaryan should have scored. He came back past Saremi. Mkhitaryan on the turn, got the power, couldn't keep it down. That's a massive let-off for Manchester City.
Well, I said they're their strongest offensive unit on now, and they did, and what a chance they've created. Dumfries down this right, which he's so good at. Power down the right, great cross to the far post. Mkhitaryan's got to score. I mean, he's got under it and lifted it over the bar when really and truly it's easier to score. Inzaghi's gone mental, which you would expect. That was a big chance.
And it all came about with Denzel Dumfries. A very different attacking option down the right-hand side to keep City honest now. The game is going to be increasingly stretched.
Oh.
Here's Mkhitaryan. Down to his right-hand side. Pavard to Dumfries. One Englishman has scored in the Champions League tonight. Jamie Bino-Gittins for Dortmund. They lead at Bruges. It's his third goal of the season. He's now Dortmund's leading scorer in the early part of this season. 1-0 Dortmund leading at Bruges. Celtic 4, Slovan Bratislava 1. PSG still being held at home by Girona. 0-0 here, and Jeremy Doku is going to come on as City look to try and break the deadlock with 13 minutes to go. Doku, the man that you've been calling for. It'll be interesting to see who he does come on to replace. I would imagine it probably still will be Grealish, not necessarily. The ball back from Guardiola to his goalkeeper. Edison will bring it out. Side puts it out of the penalty area to find the Kanji. Tomorrow morning, Alan Brazil and Gabby Agbonlahor on breakfast duties with the likes of David Seaman, Neil Lennon and Tim Sherwood. All part of the fun. Joining Alan and Gabby tomorrow morning for Talksport Breakfast from 6, and plenty of reaction to all of tonight's action guaranteed. Looking ahead to Arsenal's game at Atalanta tomorrow as well, which will be live on Talksport. This one's still 0-0, 12 to go, and maybe 3 or 4 minutes of added time at the moment. The ball with a Kanji, played forward towards Rico Lewis, back for a Kanji again. Kanji flicking it full, given away, straight to Lautaro Martinez. This time Pep's hands go to his head. Almost an involuntary reaction from him. His side have won it back though. Lewis, Gundogan, Grealish ahead of him, Haaland ahead of him. Gundogan takes it on, then checks and cuts back out towards the right hand side of the area for Bernardo Silva. He plays it back for Rodri. Rodri urged to shoot, never going to from this position. Better options on, including Bernardo Silva on the right hand side of the box. And he just comes back down towards the corner of the penalty area and then teases Mkhitaryan by turning and coming back the other way. Wolves have one back in stoppage time at Brighton, 3-2. We'll get news in a moment when the substitutions are made. Doku and Fratesi, the players that are going to come on, one for each side, obviously. The ball over on the Manchester City right here at 0-0. Played back towards Akanji again. Kanji 15 yards outside the penalty area. Still City, well, by necessity really, having to be patient. Reverse ball inside the box, didn't quite come off, but Gundogan can find Foden. Foden setting up Vardiol. Good save by the diving Sommer. Went to his left and beat it away. Back it comes from Gundogan. High ball inside the box, and that's claimed by Jan Sommer.
Decent move, wasn't it? You know, they worked it well, got to the edge of the box, and unfortunately the shot wasn't good enough. And I think there must be an injury because the ball's been kicked out of play. But a good spell from Man City. You know, they're pushing, the crowd are getting involved a little bit. We got 10, 12 minutes to go. Doku's coming on. So it's going to be a great finish, I'm sure of it. I don't think this game's going to end 0-0.
So Doku coming on for Bernardo Silva. Let's get news of that Wolves goal from Alex Crook.
Brighton 3, Wolves 2. A disaster for the Brighton goalkeeper Jason Steele. He passed it straight to Jurgen Strand Larsen. He cut the cross back, and it was Tommy Doyle who fires it off the underside of the bar. Brighton 3, Wolves 2.
2 minutes of stoppage time to go in that game. 10 minutes of regulation time left at the CBS Arena. Coventry 1, Spurs 0. They've had the lead for 20 minutes or so there with Thomas Asante's goal. That's still the way of it, and it's live right now over on Talksport 2. Sommer's got the ball in his hands inside his own penalty area away to our left. City making the change. Inter haven't as yet. They just want to make sure that everybody's fit to continue. So Fratesi stripped and ready for action. It's got a pink bib on, and he's just waiting for the call. Inter again determined to play out from the back and have done so with the minimum of fuss this time. Martinez trying to help it on. Akanji stopped him. Lewis has got it on the right hand side. Play forward towards Doku. First chance for him to shine. Doku taking on Bastoni. Sliding challenge. Beats him. Puts it out of play for a City throw.
Great defending, but they've done that all night into Milan. Bastoni that time on Doku. Brilliant tackle. And now the changes make. It'll be interesting to see who comes off here actually.
I think it's going to be Hakan Çalhanoğlu who will make way. So midfielder coming off, and Davide Fratesi, who signed from Sassuolo after a loan spell last season, will come on. Pretty much a straight swap, and he tends to play on the right hand side of central midfield. Fratesi, and he will come on to replace Çalhanoğlu.
Çalhanoğlu's done brilliant, by the way, and I wanted to say his name just to say I did it once.
Yeah, you didn't cheat. You haven't cheated all night. And he's
Hakan to his friends.
Hakan, absolutely. Yeah. He's come off with 81 minutes on the clock. Veteran of more than 600 games for club and country, and he's had another fine one tonight. 0-0, an entertaining 0-0. 8 minutes to go, and the sense that it isn't all over by any means yet. Bastoni clears. Mkhitaryan, who should have scored, played back. There's an intricate backheel flick which was risky in their own final third from Inter. City have turned over possession but slightly deeper. Foden to Rodri. Lewis taking it on, poking it towards Haaland, but it's gone past him and out of play. Haaland's had one of those nights that hasn't had too much service, and when he doesn't have too much service, he really doesn't influence the game an awful lot.
Well, he never really gets balls into his feet. He's not really in the play much, and it's unfortunate for him. He's so patient though. He doesn't give up. He keeps working away with hardly a touch of the ball.
And yet, for all the fact that he's hardly been involved, it's arguably when he's at his most dangerous. You still couldn't write off goal number 100 coming in the time that remains, and he kind of deserves a milestone goal to be one of significance, which it would be if he broke the deadlock here. Brighton 3, Wolves 2. They're in the 6th minute of stoppage time, and it has now finished. Brighton are through, Wolves eliminated. We'll just get a very brief sum up from Crookie in a moment. Coventry 1, Spurs 0 with 7 minutes to go. Celtic looking home and host 4-1 up. Dortmund leading at Bruges 1-0. Girona still holding PSG at the Parc des Princes. Inter likewise against Manchester City here. Grealish dropping in at right back for a moment to link up the play. Goes out to the far touchline. Doku. Now Akanji. Back it goes for Diaz inside the centre circle. Forward from him to Gvardiol. Gvardiol turns back inside, away from the blonde hair for Tazy. And then Taremi tries to put a challenge in and come. Foden hoping to find Haaland. Couldn't get the angle right on a deft through ball. Inter will look to bring it forward quickly. Barella switching the play. Out it goes for Lautaro Martinez. 3 making ground to his right-hand side in the area. Barella going for goal. Ederson's handling had to be absolutely spot on, because if he didn't grasp that, he was just going to palm it into the path of Dumfries. But he did his job well, and it remains 0-0 with 6 to go.
Barella there, for me, made the wrong choice. He put Martinez in, but Dumfries was in, and there was no one near him. He took the wrong option there, and unfortunately, it went out to Martinez. He's coming and shot on his right foot. It was never going to be good enough.
Manchester City, remember, unbeaten in 46 here. Since Brentford won in November 2022, they've had a couple of let-offs tonight, most notably the Mkhitaryan chance that he blazed over the bar. Jeremy Doku, right-hand side of the penalty area. Their record in the Champions League here is also extraordinary. Last home defeat in 90 minutes in a Champions League tie was 6 years ago tomorrow, a game against Lyon. Since then, 128, drawn 3, lost none.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it?
KO'd on penalties here last season, of course. Gvardiol playing it forward. They've also scored 4 times as many goals as they conceded in that run. But almost 100 Champions League goals at home since they last lost. Dortmund 2 up at Bruges. Grealish, 0-0 here. Time running out for either side to turn 1 point into 3, and this is the first of the 9 games between 2 Pot 1 sides. Ball gets through for Doku somehow. Right-hand side of the penalty area. He's played it back in. Half cleared. Mkhitaryan will turn on the edge of his own area. Barella now can bring it forward and try and lead the counter. Rodri was in there. Got a vital touch. Steers it back. City will turn and will come again. Played up the right-hand side towards Doku. Doku on the right-hand side of the penalty area, back for Phil Foden. Foden to Rodri, bodies forward. Rodri from distance, but he couldn't replicate Istanbul.
He gets a clap from the manager, but probably the wrong option on that occasion. Still pushing those City. This game is still in a balance. I still wouldn't call it a 0-0 guarantee yet.
Well, it'll be fascinating to hear your reaction to what you've heard tonight. What have you made of Manchester City's performance? You get your chance on the sports bar. Foden, edge of the area, didn't get hold of it. Bobbled a left-footed effort, and Sommer very grateful to pounce on that as he dived to his left to make the save.
Well, I thought that was a great chance. If Foden had a little bit more time than he thought. He took the shot really early. He could have had another touch there. He took it a little bit closer. He certainly would have got a better strike off.
Well, in the first half, It was 10-9 in terms of attempts to enter. Second half, it's been 11-3 in Manchester City's favour. But Mkhitaryan has arguably missed the best chance of all. Another goal at Celtic Park for David Tanner.
Celtic 5, Slovan Bratislava 1, and it's the first time that Celtic have hit 5 in the Champions League, and it was Adam Ida who scores at this level for the first time, set up by James Forrest. 87 minutes gone, it's 5-1 to Celtic.
Spurs equalise at Coventry in the 89th minute. 1-1. It's live for you right now over on Talksport 2. Confirm the scorer very shortly. But 1-1 the score. Jed Spence, Tottenham's forgotten man, with a big goal for Tottenham. 1-1. And penalties will come your way on Talksport 2. So all square again there, very late on. Let's get quick full-time details from Brighton. Alex Crook.
Brighton 3, Wolves 2, strikes from distance from Belieber, and Adingra put the Seagulls 2 up after half an hour. Guedes reduced the arrears right on half-time. Kadioglu looked to have sealed it with 5 minutes remaining, only for Tommy Doyle to seize on a Jason Steele mistake in stoppage time, but Wolves couldn't get the equaliser. It finished Brighton 3, Wolves 2.
Doku chipping it inside the penalty area. Rodri brings it down and then takes it back out of the penalty area again. Vardiol chipping it in, and the header from Ilkay Gundogan straight at Sommer. That was the chance.
That was the chance. The centre-half, he climbed, but he was never going to make it. It just went over his head. Gundogan, all he had to do was put it in one of the corners, and he's hit it straight at the goalkeeper, Sommer. Easy save, really, from a good chance.
All he had to do was stick his hands up, and it was always going to stick. Gundogan couldn't work it either side. Sommer with a rare mistake. And he's whacked it straight out of play. Almost a little panic-stricken that. A minute to go.
Yeah, this is probably as bad as Inter Milan have been all game this period. Oh, it's a foul then.
On Foden. And just for a moment it looks as though the referee, Glenn Niebera, was going to allow play to go on. Inter would have been in a great position had he done so, but I'm sure that was the right decision. So it's a free kick here to Manchester City as we approach the end of the 90. What do you reckon in terms of time added on? Could be 5. We've had a fair few changes, a couple of injuries.
Yeah, a few subs.
So it could easily be effectively 5.5 minutes of action from here on in. Does feel now, goal from here wins it. Free kick taken, out of the right-hand side of the penalty area. Doku, has he won a corner? Yes, he has. Off Mkhitaryan. Well worked free kick, just roll down the right hand side of the penalty area. Foden will come across to take this. City set it up. Haaland by the penalty spot, feigning disinterest, not even looking at the moment. He's got arms all around him. There's a Cherby who's trying to stop Haaland getting a run towards the ball by foul means not fair. Rodri's in there, he makes a near post run, fired in and headed away before he got to Ruben Dias. Back from Rico Lewis, that's not a very good header. But Ederson's going to be able to sweep up, as looks as though Inter might be able to get it forward. Ederson raced to the edge of the centre circle and just acted as the sweeper keeper, and Manchester City will come again. It's 4 additional minutes. We're in them. Here comes Foden on the edge of the box, and he's just lost his way. The Cherby trying to bring it forward, didn't get too far. City work it back with Diaz. Grealish going shoulder to shoulder. There's a throw Manchester City's way. I think Pavard felt that he was fouled. The referee didn't. Throw to Manchester City rather than a free kick to Inter. Still 0-0. 3 minutes of stoppage time to go. Still Coventry 1, Spurs 1 after that late Jed Spence equaliser. It goes to penalties. We will bring them to you here on Talksport as well. Rico Lewis out towards Jeremy Doku. Right hand side of the box here. City needing a moment of inspiration. Doku trying to provide it. Wins another corner. Can they do it from here?
Yeah, Doku's done well a couple of times. He's just gone on the outside to win these corners. Can they score from one? Foden on it.
Haaland makes his way again towards the penalty spot. Cherby is with him. Vardiol preparing to make a darting run in towards the near post. Rodri is in there. Akanji's in there as well. Good defensive header from Lautaro Martinez. Coming together inside the penalty area involving Haaland It's just a collision, I think. Both players having their eyes on the ball as it came in, and Sommer's got it at his feet. And they've survived it. 2 minutes to go. What a turnaround for Spurs. They've scored again. Brennan Johnson. Coventry 1, Spurs 2 in the 2nd minute of stoppage time.
Good old Ange. What a substitutions he must have made there. My old mate will be dead chuffed.
So 2-1 Spurs leading at Coventry in the last knockings there. Brighton already through. Celtic 5-1 up against Slovan Bratislava. PSG have just scored against Girona as well. They lead 1-0. Mendes breaking the deadlock in the 90th minute. This one has got 90 seconds of stoppage time left. 0-0 the score. Jan Sommer to take a free kick on the edge of his own penalty area. Punts it forward deep into Manchester City territory. It's a missed kick from Rodri, but Ruben Dias then comes forward with a commanding header and gets the ball towards halfway. One back by Inter, poked forward but not to good effect. Taremi chasing after it, leads into Akanji, fouls him. Free kick to Manchester City. Lewis spots it down, takes it quickly. He's very deep. Gundogan took an awkward little bounce in front of him. He's had to go back to his goalkeeper. Low clearance from Edison, which wasn't what he intended, I don't think, but he went 60 yards straight forward towards Doku. He comes in off the right flank and finds Grealish. It's 0-0. A goal wins it for either team. Grealish bringing it forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Back from him to Vardiol. Vardiol to Ruben Dias on halfway. 45 seconds to go. Akanji into the feet of Lewis, and back for Akanji again. Haaland just walks away from the edge of the penalty area. Play really condensed near the edge of the box. Now in to drop back into it. The ball 20 yards outside it. Rodri to Lewis. Rico Lewis checks, right-footed, out towards Doku. Sniffed up, and the diving header from Gundogan goes over the bar. And it's going to end 0-0.
Wow, it was such a well-constructed move, considering we're at 93 minutes. They were patient, they played it around, got it out to the right-hand side. It comes right through the middle. Gundogan is stretching everything to try and get it. And unfortunately, it's just that too far away from him to get the contact he wants. And it goes over the top, and we got ourselves a 0-0.
Well, when you bear in mind how many goals Manchester City scored in the group stage of the Champions League last year, 3 in every game, this a real rarity, held at home by Inter Milan at the start of this new Champions League campaign. Still a massive margin for error from them. It was an entertaining match, no doubt about that. Couple of let-offs at the other end. City's unbeaten record, which stretches back the thick end of 2 years here, and some 46 games might have gone had Mkhitaryan hit the target from a good chance, but hugely entertaining. City much the better side in the second half. It's finished 0-0.
Yeah, it was an entertaining 0-0, but Alan Pardew, how disappointed is Pep Guardiola going to be?
Well, you know, he's obviously disappointed with the result. I thought the performance was okay. This was a good Inter Milan side, and they pushed all the way to the end. And actually, their 2 best chances probably foul in that last 5 minutes. So I don't think he'll be really displeased. Only the result will be frustrating, because he'll probably feel just second half they did enough. If I was the Inter Milan manager, I'd be chuffed as well, because I thought they was terrific up until the end, where the substitutions who come on, Mkhitaryan in particular, looked to me like he couldn't get the pace of the game, and the subs actually cost Inter Milan. They almost cost them the game. They just didn't have enough kind of technical level like they had for that period up to them coming on. But in Barella, by the way, that was an absolute masterclass of central midfield play.
He was stunning, wasn't he? I mean, in years gone by, he's been compared as a youngster, he's compared to Steven Gerrard, that kind of player. I mean, his touch on the ball, his control of the game, everything about his game. He was knocking on 10 out of 10 tonight, wasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, he's not a Steven Gerrard type of player, but his technical ability in that central area reminded me of Modric. I've only seen Modric have sort of interplay like that, calmness, taking the ball in any kind of situation and managing to get out of it. It was great to see him. I was really pleased to have been here tonight to witness that performance. That was what I'll take away from the game, that one individual performance. But it was a good game. And I have to say that technically, very, very high level.
Oh yeah, really high level. It was one of those 0-0s that was actually a joy to witness. There was some really high-level football in it. Erling Haaland, we started the evening talking about him and his goal record, but never really threatened, did he? What went wrong for him?
No, this wasn't his night tonight. I didn't think he had a lot of chances. He had quite a decent chance from a header in the first half. He was in and around that penalty box, but he was marshalled really well tonight. The three centre halves were always around him. He didn't really get much to do. I can't actually remember him coming deep with Jingling in the play. He didn't try to mix his game up, but then he never does. So, you know, he stuck to form. He stayed through the middle, but nothing really created for him as an individual.
So there were chances. Gundogan's diving header right at the end. I mean, maybe he was on the stretch a little bit. That's probably why. Yeah.
I actually thought the one before that was a better chance.
Yeah.
The centre half just misjudged it. He's right in the middle of the goal, and unfortunately, even though it's at a good height, he hasn't managed to get enough turn in his body to put it in the corner. He's headed it straight at the keeper. And Sommer, by the way, who I thought was terrific tonight, particularly with his feet, a very calm, had an easy catch.
Should we criticise Pep Guardiola? Could he have brought Doku on earlier?
Maybe. But you know what? Even though we would like to say Man City were better in the second half, the two best chances of the game, other than Gudjans down here, was Inter Milan. They had a great chance, Mkhitaryan in the middle of the goal, where he should hit the target. And then Damien, who probably had the best chance of the whole game, tries a back heel, like when anyone would have shot. You know, my daughter would have shot from that angle. But no, he backheeled it. I don't know what he was thinking there. But I think both managers will go into the press room, both into the presser now. They'll both be very, very happy with their sides. I have no doubt about that. And both kind of wishing something had fallen from them.
Yeah. There were also some decent saves, decent handling from Ederson, which was needed as well. He wasn't in the thick of the action, certainly second half, but he was there when called upon.
Yeah, and that's his job. You know, he's when you're playing at Man City, there's always going to be breakaways on you, and you know you need an outstanding goalie, and he did his job tonight. I can't really think of too many Man City players that were disappointing. Maybe Haaland, yeah, but you know you could argue that he didn't get enough service. I thought everybody else was on the game. It was a great technical game, great watch, a lot of tactics being thrown about. Pep Guardiola changing the wide players. There 3 or 4 different changes on the wide angle. As a coach, he did everything. He did everything that he could in terms of the personnel that he had. We're probably both of the opinion that Doku should have been on a little bit earlier. Maybe you could argue that, but he threw enough at Inter Milan. He asked them enough questions. It wasn't to be.